Shalom, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom also to the one-third Israelites, which include the Judas children, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Indians, who are still oppressed together according to the book of Jeremiah 15:33, but to whom Saleh pertained the adoption, the giving of the law, the promises, the glory, and the covenants, according to the book of Romans chapter 9, if you don't know. Okay, and this is more evidence points to US NATO sabotage of Nord Stream, okay? Of course, you don't have the full evidence for now and things like that, okay? You can't say, oh, it's for sure and things like that, okay? But I'm really not surprised, okay? Of course, the Russians are our enemies, the NATO is our enemies, America, or especially USA, basically all the heathens, of course, but, okay, it's, really who would benefit from this, okay? Basically, you would say the NATO, okay? Because the NATO, I believe, is even, well, let me get that example, okay? Even Biden said that he will destroy the pipelines if what was it? Not the annexation, but if Putin invades Ukraine or something, I don't know, whatever, But Biden said something about destroying the pipelines, but he never mentioned how he will do that. Okay, so clearly, of course, this, at least if you know the truth of the Bible, this shouldn't be so much a surprise to you, okay? If you live in Germany, you may want to begin scouting out firewood before winter. Increasingly, there is little doubt who is behind the Nord Stream pipeline leaks. Now numbering 4, the corporate media is lamely attempting to blame Russia for the blowing up its own multi-billion-dollar pipeline and its expensive cargo, but as usual, and it's also of course a tactic. If it was really the NATO, okay, the United States of America, it's also a tactic to warn the people that Russia could destroy the pipelines, and in the end, they doing it themselves, okay? But they, of course, not the ones who did it because they want people, okay? So you really have to be simple to, to don't get behind these simple facts, okay? That's a main strategy to pretend to basically warn the people, but then doing it themselves, okay? It's kind of like simple, but it works, Most people actually think even that this was Russia, okay? Of course, you have the media proclaiming that and things like that. That's the main reason why people think like that, okay, and things like that. Now, numbering 4, the corporate media is lamely attempting to blame Russia for blowing up its own multi-billion-dollar pipeline and its expensive cargo, but as usual, the corporate propaganda media provides no evidence to back this up, because they talk, but they really show no evidence. From that also reliable news source, The Express, the massive leak in the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines, which may be suspected to be an act of sabotage, could be Russia's way of sending a horrifying threat to Europe, experts have warned. They say he has the prowess and firepower needed to damage other pipelines. Over the past few days, 4 leaks have been discovered along the 1,234-kilometer long Nord Stream 2 pipeline between Russia and Germany. The pipelines, which bypassed Ukraine and Poland by transmitting gas via the Baltic Sea, started leaking on Monday, which experts from Denmark and Sweden have confirmed occurred after strong explosions. Indeed, I am certain Russia does possess such technology. However, so do the US and NATO. Okay, and it doesn't need much technology to put some explosions there. Okay, there's a video that I saw. Okay, you could even with a normal civil ship, a small one. Okay, a private ship, for example. Okay, you just simply drive there okay, swim there basically, and you could actually place a bomb there, okay? It doesn't need much, okay? But anyway, because this, this is an area that can't be controlled so much, so it is easy to place bombs there, okay, without being watched or things like that, okay? Of course, they have something with scanners and things like that, but it doesn't, as I said, need much technology to to do that, of course. Okay. So do the US and NATO, but with more incentive to blow up the pipelines to Russia. It doesn't need to do this. It doesn't need to do this. Russia can simply turn off the tap on its end, as it has partially accomplished in response to Germany and Europe sending munitions to kill Russian soldiers. As for the required technology, okay, and we have a post here, I believe it's Twitter. Back in June this year, NATO conducted its annual Baltops military exercise in the Baltic Sea. This year, exercises had significant focus on using US Navy unmanned underwater vehicles to clear sea mines. Okay, Baltops is an annual military exercise held in the Baltic Sea from naval news. Participating nations include Belgium, Bulgaria, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Latvia, Lithuania, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Sweden, Turkey, the United Kingdom, and the United States. These countries will exercise a myriad of capabilities, demonstrating the inherent flexibility of maritime forces. Exercise scenarios include amphibious operations, gunnery, anti-submarine air defense, mine clearance operations, explosive ordnance disposal, unmanned underwater slugger vehicles, and medical response. Emphasis added. Moreover, not mentioned by the corporate propaganda media is the fact Baltops was held near the coast of Bornholm, an island of the east coast of Denmark, precisely where the explosions and gas leaks occurred. Okay, so yeah, Khan, let's go into some scriptures, okay, because I believe it was the United States of America, but it's just guessing and not saying that it was definitely, okay. But they're the only ones actually speaking about destroying them, okay, so it's just, even if you would believe in the media so much how these people do it, they would have a reason to believe that it was the United States. Okay, Psalms 85 and 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies, okay? So, of course, it's lies to talk about, Russia, things like that. Russia is really the aggressor. I believe, of course, Russia is our animals also, but Russia is actually really kind of like trying to do away with some kind of negative energy in Ukraine, okay? Of course, there could be really more negative energy in Ukraine than we believe or than we know, okay? For example, I never went to Ukraine, but I can imagine that the NATO has its basically wants to bring wickedness to Russia by coming to Ukraine first and then coming to Russia, okay? And Russia, it's just like another snake. For example, you have two different kind of snakes, okay? And the Russians are also Edomites, okay? Or Gog and Magog, basically, but a different kind of Gog of Edom, you would say, okay? So what happens if one snake goes in the territory of another snake? Okay, the second snake will attack back, okay? So that shows you also that there is basically Satan against Satan, okay? So how can Satan's house stand if if he's divided against himself, okay? You see, that's the biggest proof for that. Satan divided against Satan. Okay, you have certain snakes that are strong and you have certain snakes that are not so strong, okay? An example is, as the United Snakes of America, you will only attack snakes that are not so strong, right? But let's read this first. Matthew 12:26. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? You see? So if you're really clever, you don't, you don't go over Ukraine to try to defeat or try to poison Russia, okay? Russia is basically a wicked part of Russia is basically Ukraine, even when Ukraine pretends to be, independent and things like that. But look what in these 1900s really started. Okay, all the worst stuff really came up since 1950, since the Second World War. All this, the worst of the worst came up. That's also why I believe that we are in this last generation. Okay, and guess what? Ukraine, independency. Okay, Ukraine so-called independence date. Okay, self-declared. Okay, or Ukraine independence day. Okay, that's just the day Ukraine's. You see, on August 24th, 1991. Okay, so especially if you look at the law of these cave dwellers, okay, you see, especially if you look at the laws, what they call democracy, okay, really the worst of in it came up kind of like 1950 after that, okay. And I don't have to talk about specific things, okay, you already know what it is, okay. There are just too much to talk about everything, okay. But as I said, the worst things came up 1950 to 2022, where we are now, okay. You see, so let's get an example of the snakes, right? Okay, the strongest snake, let me get that real quick. Strongest snake in the world. Then we will close out, okay. You see, so you have place 1 here, okay. The inland taipan, okay. Of course, Australia. The inland taipan inhabits the semi-arid parts of Central East Australia. It achieves an average length of 5.9 feet with a maximum length of blah blah blah. Okay, dose of venom to paralyze prey. Its venom is estimated to be toxic enough to kill a minimum of 100 adult men. Okay, so for example, you have actually Russia, which is at least some of these first snakes here, okay, when it comes to the military power. Okay, so now you have the NATO being also of that kind of sword snake. Okay, don't forget Esau got the blessing of the sword. Okay, but okay, for a snake of that rank to attack one of these place 10 and place 9 to 8 and 7 snakes would be clever, okay, but to attack a state like Russia really kind of like, is not so wise at all, okay, because you have a snake that is, a really great power today, okay, a really toxic snake, basically, one of the top rank snakes, okay. But with that, all praises to Yahweh Hashem, Shai Hashem, Kokodash, Kokotam. Okay, I will end it here. Shalom.